on that field today? Ask yourself this question.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! And let's go to the house! And let's go to the house!
When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it.
It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We ready? And let's go to the house. And let's go to the house.
We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin strap. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from them. He's a man. They can be hit just like us. He's a man. You ought to make the big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world.
What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We ready? And let's go to the house. And let's go to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
Now, this game is not over. It's just getting started. It's Freestyle Friday. We made it all the way to the end of the week. Man, I'm ready. Good God. But anyway, I'm AJ Jones. It is another episode of The Lunch Break, and we are powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku, courtesy of BS3 TV, changing the way you watch TV. And man, I tell you what, BS3 is an amazing network. I'm glad to be a part of the family. Got some amazing shows, amazing people. I'll tell you, you're going to grow to love them like I did. All you got to do is download BS3 TV from your Roku streaming device. And if you don't have a Roku streaming device, get one. But until you do, go to bs3network.com. That's bs3network.com. bs3network.com. And you'll be able to check out all of the great programming. So, man, I had a great show yesterday with my brother, Chris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective. Man, we had a good time. We haven't been together in a while, so I had to get caught up. I had my questions for him yesterday. If you missed that show, be sure and go back and check it out. You can always find us at our YouTube channel. You can find us on Facebook, and, of course, you can find us on Roku. So there you go. All right, it's a fast break edition. Got a number of things I want to talk about. NBA got back to it last night with some decent games. The Lakers beat the Golden State Warriors, who were without Steph Curry. And I'm telling you what, everybody was talking about what Kevin Durant meant to Golden State, but let's just keep it a buck. It's all about Steph Curry. They rise and fall based on the play of Steph Curry. So without him last night, the Lakers got him 124-111. D'Angelo Russell suffered looked like a ankle sprain, stepped on the foot of a Warriors player trying to make an inbounds, and it didn't look good. But the other guys stepped up. A lot of balanced scoring now with the LA Lakers. In fact, one thing I like to look at with the Lakers is their shooting percentages, because, man, they were abysmal. Nobody lit it up from the field. The Lakers were 48%, making 49, just under 50. Ain't bad, but you want to be over 50% from the field. Golden State, 38%. You tell me they don't miss Steph Curry? Heck yeah, they do. Heck yeah, they do. And then here's where the Lakers surprised me. They shot 53% from the three-point line. Golden State, 28.6 or 29. That's normally reversed. So again, Golden State missed Steph Curry. The Lakers got by without having a big night from LeBron James or Anthony Davis. So I wanted to check that out real quick because, again, now it's down the home stretch. Now it's the second half of the NBA season, as they call it, and we're trying to see who does what. What about Philadelphia? They were down. They got right. They came back. They got in front of Memphis, one of the top teams in the West, and they beat them thanks to some good, strong defense by Joel Embiid. Man, talk about making plays. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time moments, and he definitely did that. Got a nice win over the Memphis Grizzlies last night, 110-105. While I'm talking about Philadelphia on this Freestyle Friday, I got to give some love to James Harden. Say what you want to say about him. Talk about his body. Talk about his weight, which is not cool, by the way, but go ahead and do that if that's your thing. Talk about how he plays in the playoffs and all that. But yesterday, he did a solid, man. Yesterday, he found out one of the Michigan State survivors of that senseless gun tragedy there on campus was a fan of his. And, of course, James Harden got him on a video chat, was talking to him while he was in the hospital, told him that he appreciated his fandom, his support, his love, and that he was praying for and thinking about him and hoping that things get better for him, and promised to send him some gear, promised to send him some stuff to help encourage him during his recovery. Again, I don't want to hear about how much money these guys make. I don't want to hear that's what they should do. Now, listen, you don't have to do that. He did, and I respect him for it. So, James Harden, big check in my book, bro. Big check in my book. Good stuff. Good stuff for James Harden and the situation with the young man from Michigan State. Denver kept rolling. I kept asking Chris yesterday, should people be concerned about Denver? He said, no, ain't nobody scared of Denver. Well, they beat a very good Cleveland Cavaliers team. And I know it's still regular season. We got to see what they do in the playoffs. But, man, right now, they are holding on to that number one spot. Scheme, plot. Denver's coming from that number one spot, 115-109 in the win. New Orleans ran into a very motivated Pelicans team coming off the All-Star break, beat them 115-110. Dallas, and I ain't talking about them Cowboys. I was on a call last night. One of the people on the call had a Cowboys thing hanging up in the background. My stomach was hurting. I was like, oh, man, listen, real quick, Dallas Cowboy fans, the NFC East Championship from now on goes through Philly. You can hate me if you want to. I'm just giving you facts. I'm just telling you what it is, and you just got to deal with it. Until you get back to who you used to be back in the 90s, in the 90s before some of y'all were born, the NFC East Championship goes through Philly. You better start liking Philly cheesesteaks, baby, because that's what you're going to be eating as you go to Philly to try and knock off those Eagles. So anyway, the Dallas Mavericks all over the Spurs last night. Spurs trying to get that number one pick. Scheme, plot. The Spurs are coming for that number one pick. All right, last night, man, I got to see what who did. Kyrie Irving last night, 23 points, 6 assists on 8 for 13 shooting. Was 3 for 4 from the three. Very helpful. Luka, 28, 7 rebounds, 10 assists. He was 1 for 6 for 3, so got to be happy that Kyrie was there to pick up some of that slack. And then off the bench, Tim Hardaway Jr. did his thing with 22. So Dallas all over the Spurs. The Celtics beat the Pacers 142-138. Not much defense, almost like an all-star game there. But, I'm not surprised Celtics won that. Magic beat the Pistons by 2. Utah beat Oklahoma City by 1. Oklahoma City trying to stay in that play-in, playoff conversation. Utah got them last night. And then, again, another team that I'm going to be keeping my eye on, and I got some love for them because I like their coach. Dude's been much maligned. Oh, he couldn't coach without LeBron. All he's doing is making Sacramento relevant again. Talking about Mike Brown, got them a nice little 133-116 win over Portland. So that's your NBA wrap in this first segment. Let me take a break. I'll come back. I want to talk some NFL right after this on the lunch break. Powered by JM&E. Streaming live on Roku, courtesy of BS3 TV.
Discouragement, sorrow, distance. Your arguments cause damage to your family. The hurt leads to divorce. You feel like there is nowhere else to turn. but there is hope for you. That's where we come into play. There is an overcomer that lives inside of you, one ready to take on the world as you leap for joy, living in victory. You'll grow to love yourself and others. There's life after divorce, and you can claim it today. Get Over Divorce, where your new story begins, here every Thursday on YouTube and Spreaker. This is a BS3 Network presentation.
I want to show that attainability. I want to show the accessibility of this kind of lifestyle.
From social media to having conversations with friends and family, you always have to put on face and say face.
What brings a smile to my face is the one person that totally believes in me, and that's my beautiful wife, Jody.
I just had to stop because I didn't value myself. I didn't love myself. And it's like, I have to learn to love myself.
Changing the world one conversation at a time. This is Revelations.
Two of the most amazing shows, part of the BS3 network, man. Love each one of those. Get Over Divorce and Revelations, all part of the BS3 family. If you got a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV. BS3 TV on your Roku streaming device. Or if you don't, get one. But please, while you're getting it, waiting on it to arrive, all you got to do is go to bs3network.com. That's bs3network.com. And again, you'll see those two plus a whole lot more. Changing the way you watch TV. All right. Hey, listen, it's Freestyle Friday. I'm Fast Break Edition. Got to get out of town today, and I'm really looking forward to hanging out with some awesome people. But got to talk NFL before I go. First of all, I appreciate all the work, well, most of the work that my colleagues are able to create in this broadcast journalism space, especially some of the writers and what have you from CBS, from Yahoo, some from the mothership. Yeah. And, Fox Sports does a great job. NBC Sports does a great job. And then there's a whole host of homegrown podcasts and man, folks just do a great job. Mike Patton, man, that brother is phenomenal. I love what he's doing. Kelsey Nicole Nelson, man, I love what she's doing with Listen In, with KNN. Man, just so many great people. David Grubb, hard in the paint, brother, still grinding, doing this thing, man. I can't wait to collab with him again. It's just some great people out there. Again, I can go on. Cold Sports, Snowman in the Morning, man, it's just so many great content creators out there in this sports space and others, of course. The mock drafts, man, I used to get all into them and everything like that. And I gotta tell you, man, Todd McShay and his boy, I don't even want to say his name. Some y'all think I might have forgot. I haven't. I'll never forget when he went off because I think it was the Colts didn't draft who he thought they should draft. And the dude was like, who the hell is that person's name? And I'm just like, yeah, exactly. We got to draft according to your mock draft poll. So anyway, the mock drafts are interesting. I look at them differently now than I did back then when I was like, oh man, these dudes really know what they're talking about. They're guessing like we guess when we trying to pick who's going to win in the Lunch Break Weekly, Keeping Up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge. All right. Congratulations, Ms. Pearl, on winning the $500. Please stop being shy. We're not going to bite you. Just either come on, call in, or let's record something. Okay, Ms. Pearl, I love you. So anyway, I digress. I've seen a number of mock drafts lately that are all over the place. Like they have the Indianapolis Colts moving up to the number one spot, trading assets to the Chicago Bears, and have them taking anyone from the quarterback in Florida, Anthony Richardson, to Bryce Young, to CJ Stroud, because they like the Texans desperately need a young franchise quarterback, somebody that they have the potential to develop and and get behind and build a team around, because they do not have that. They have not had that since Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck had not had that since. But come on, man. Anthony Richardson, okay, love the dude. I mean, really got all kinds of potential. But, potential is, stuff that just hadn't happened yet. It could, but it might not. All right. Bryce Young, same thing. CJ Stroud, same thing. But, folks got them all over the place. So let me give you the latest one I read. Let me give credit to the writer, Josh Edwards. Josh Edwards wrote, put this one together. He's got, again, the Colts, jumping up to the number 1 spot and taking Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama. At number 2, he's got the Houston Texans taking CJ Stroud. And I would not be mad about that at all. Listen, I cover the Texans. I go to training camp. I'm not out every day at the practices like some of my colleagues. But, I got folks in that building who keep me up on what's happening. And I ain't telling folks who my folks are. If you don't know, you don't know. If you know, you know. So anyway, I would love that. I would love for DeMeco Ryan, head coach DeMeco Ryans, and that new Texans staff administration to work with CJ Stroud, because I think that dude has all kinds of potential. And I think if you go back to that Georgia playoff game, you will see some of the potential that CJ Stroud has that he really didn't get a chance to show during the regular season. He had moments of it, but he showed out and almost knocked off the eventual college football playoff champ. CJ Stroud, man, let me just give you some measurables real quick on CJ Stroud. Let me give you some stuff on CJ. Let me see. CJ Stroud, 6'3", 218. He can throw, he can run, but watch this. He can think. And I'm not saying other people can't do it. I'm not saying Anthony Richardson can't do it. I'm not saying that Bryce Young can't do it. I think Bryce Young is one of the most cerebral quarterbacks coming out of this draft. But CJ Stroud is a thinker, man. He's got a huge high football IQ. And I really think, again, for this Texans organization, that's what they need. They need it from people who really have it, not from people who think they have it and act like they're smarter than everybody else. Bill O'Brien, Nick Caserio. They need it from guys who really, really have it. And I think CJ Stroud, it's going to be an interesting analogy. This is the kind of analogy that I don't see and hear many people give in the business. CJ Stroud has the kind of football IQ that Jalen Petrie, the safety that they got last year, and that we found out that young man had a huge football IQ. You saw it where he had over 100 tackles and he had 5 interceptions, and there was a whole bunch of plays that he made that didn't get into the stats column. You could tell this young man was different, and this young man was special in a very good way. CJ Stroud is the equivalent on the offense to what Jalen Petrie is on the defense. And they're both young. And man, I can kind of see some things coming together if they can pull off something like that. Now, mind you, if they get Bryce Young, cool. But boy, if they get CJ Stroud, hey, as Shaq would say, winner, winner, chicken dinner with barbecue sauce on it, all right? So anyway, that's what they got. Number 3, they've got the Arizona Cardinals taking Will Anderson Jr. out of Alabama, edge rusher. At number 4, they've got the Bears moving down to the number 4 spot, taking Jalen Carter, D-line out of Georgia. At number 5, they got Will Levis, quarterback out of Kentucky, going to Seattle. And again, no problem with that, but whatever you do not trash Geno Smith. Do not trash. Let Geno Smith run that show next season. And if, something happens to him, then yeah, you move around. But Will Levis should not replace Geno Smith in the starting lineup. And then way down at number 6, they've got Carolina taking Anthony Richardson out of Florida. And again, that would be good for Carolina. Everything I said about the Texans, about the Colts, that would be true for Carolina. They've been trying to piecemeal quarterbacks for a minute. Now they'll have a legit quarterback that they can try and build around. All right, at number 7, they've got the Raiders taking Pete Skoronski, offensive tackle out of Northwestern. At number 8, you got Tyree Wilson, edge rusher out of Texas Tech. Good for him. Good for him. Wherever he gets picked. At number 9, they got the Lions taking Miles Murphy, D lineman out of Clemson. They've got the Eagles making a deal to move up to number 10 and take Devon Witherspoon, defensive back out of Illinois. And then I'm going to go just 15. I'm not going through 32. At number 11, they've got Broderick Jones, offensive tackle for Tennessee. They need some line help. And then we're back to the Texans at 12, and they got them taking a wide receiver by the name of Quentin Johnston out of TCU. Now, I've seen them saying the Texans are going to take a wide receiver out of USC, and now they're saying it's going to be Quentin Johnston out of TCU. 6'4", 215. Kind of see what kind of speed he has. He's got a big body. And the last time the Texans had a big body wide receiver, that dude should be in the NFL Hall of Fame. I'm talking about Andre Johnson. If you're going to get C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or somebody else, you got to give him somebody to throw the ball to. Not saying Brandon Cooks ain't it, but I'm just saying you got to give him somebody to throw the ball to, and maybe that young man can get the job done. So, all right. And then 13, they got the Jets taking Paris Johnson Jr. Again, why are the Jets not taking a quarterback? Are they going to make some kind of deal with either Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, or that quarterback up in Green Bay? Don't know. Let's see. 14, the Patriots taking Christian Gonzalez, defensive back out of Oregon, SCO Ducks. And at number 15, that team at Green Bay taking Michael Mayer, that tight end, big tight end out of Notre Dame. That fits. In fact, hasn't Green Bay had a number of tight ends out of Notre Dame that have been successful there? In my mind, I feel like they have. I feel like they've had good success with tight ends out of Notre Dame. While I'm talking about Green Bay, before I take my last break, published reports are now saying that the team is not ready to move on from their quarterback. Quarterback has come out of his dark retreat, and apparently the one thing that they want to find out from him is that he's all in. How you going to get him to agree to that? That dude will lie straight to your face and show you the crack in his butt. Hey, by the way, I don't take the COVID shot. I'm immunized, but I'm not vaccinated because I got this crack in my butt. Don't nobody want to see your toe. Don't nobody want to see your crack in your butt. Don't nobody want to hear your mouth unless you're saying, I'm all in. Man, I got to tell you, boy, that dude is like a bad date that just won't go away. Seriously, man. Green Bay, I said, y'all need to take a page out of the Brooklyn Nets playbook. Just go ahead and snatch that Band-Aid off and snatch that scab off of there and just deal with the pain. But I promise you will be okay after that quarterback is done playing. So anyway, reportedly they may still be together. Good for them. Nobody cares. They didn't even win the division last year, right? All right. Let me take this last break. We'll wrap it up right after this on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV.
What do you get when you watch or listen to the Life Happens podcast? Well, I'll let them tell you.
Kim and I are both ministers of the gospel, and what Life Happens podcast is a beautiful balance by simply taking our spirituality with real life and merging it together to create a beautiful balance. And that's what we do.
BS3 Network proudly presents Life Happens podcast, where Christianity and life intersect. Live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central.
Steph Curry, Tim Anderson, Jordan Alvarez, and it's caught. Deebo Samuel with the catch.
Michael Jordan can sense it.
The throw just got the king.
BS3 Network.
The hottest of hot takes. The coldest of cold hard facts. This is Snowman in the Morning with Gold Johnson. Weekdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Two more great shows from the BS3 family. Life Happens podcast. and also Snowman in the morning. In fact, he's getting it in. Got it in earlier this morning. So again, y'all got to check them out. BS3 Network, BS3 Network, BS3Network.com, BS3Network.com. Or if you have a Roku stream device, just download BS3 TV and you will be changing the way you watch TV. All right, let me get ready to wrap this thing up. There was a powerhouse basketball game on last night that, man, I'm going to tell you, I couldn't wait to check it out. It was on the women's side, South Carolina versus Tennessee. And got to give some love to the head coach over at Tennessee. She is really kind of getting that program back to prominence because, man, they were kicking South Carolina's butt in the first half by double digits. Had a big double-digit lead in the first half, man. South Carolina could not make a basket to save their life. They jumped on a 50% of the field early in the game, and then they went on like a 1-for-11 streak. And it was ugly because there was some point-blank shots, there was some open shots, and then there was a lot of just junk that went up. But, baby, let me tell you, Dawn Staley ain't playing with y'all. Dawn Staley ain't playing with y'all. She definitely ain't playing with her team because whatever she said in that half, during halftime, baby, it worked because South Carolina pulled away for a double-digit win. So congratulations, South Carolina, on staying undefeated and giving us great basketball last night, man. It was really good to watch that game. And anybody who's still saying that the women's game is trash and go make me a sandwich and get in the kitchen, you're dumb, number one. Number two, you don't know what you're talking about. That's simple, plain and simple. As much as I talk about South Carolina, I gotta give some love to the crew at halftime from that game. They talked about LSU not being a number one seed, even though they're 23-1 or something like that. Only got one loss. Well, they won last night, so they're like 24-1, something like that. It's not real. It's not a real. They padded that schedule a lot. They had very soft opponents in that schedule, and they are hoping and believing that the committee is not going to reward LSU for manufacturing a amazing record. Like they're going to be maybe a second seed or a third, but they're not going to be a number one. And I'm with that. I'm with that. And I hope the teams that should be number one remain number one. And LSU is just not one of them. I know a lot of folks who love Kim Mulkey. All right, cool. I'm not one of them. She can't knock on my door. Who is it? Kim? Kim who? Kim Mulkey. Get off my yard. For real. I'm about to call the police and let my dog out. Like, for real. Nothing she could say to me, nothing she could do to me. AJ, you're just being a hater. No, I'm not. She's done enough for me, not to you, for me, to say, nah, that ain't who we think she is. So anyway, I'm glad that the powers that be are starting to call that out, that schedule has been manufactured to create something like 24-1 or whatever, that one loss that she's got. Now, mind you, they've been playing conference play for a minute now, and they've beaten everybody that they play except for South Carolina. And South Carolina just dog walked them. So, again, South Carolina will be up there. But again, I like what I'm seeing in Tennessee. It's going to be some good games this weekend. Number one, U of H on the men's side is going to visit East Carolina. There's also going to be a very good matchup with Baylor and UT. That'll be tomorrow at 1:00. TCU and Texas Tech going to be very interesting as well. It's going to be some very good games, so we'll see. Alabama, Arkansas is going to be a very interesting game. Alabama, number 2 team in the country as of right now. And then Kansas has West Virginia. We'll see what Bobby Huggins can do with Kansas, who seems to have righted their ship there as well. So going to be some decent play there. Want to shout out to the CIAA. They've got their conference play going on. Of course, I love the HBCU, so going to be very interested to see how that comes out. Also, SIAC, big shout out to them getting it in as well. Man, in fact, before I go, let me give you my Black History tribute for today. I want to shout out on this day as we celebrate Paul Quinn College. It's privately, historically owned, historically Black college and university up in Dallas, Texas, and they're affiliated with the African Methodist Episcopal Church. They were founded on April 4th, 1872, and it is the oldest historically Black college west of the Mississippi River. The school was originally founded in Waco, Texas, but relocated to Dallas in 1990, taking over the campus of former HBCU Bishop College. Paul Quinn's teams have won 18 conference championships since 1983. That's what you call a powerhouse. The men's basketball team has won 3 national championships in the USCAA. And in 1924, Paul Quinn's Tigers football team, coached by legendary Harry Long, was the Black college football national champs. The Tigers, who were founding members of the SWAC conference, won the conference championship in 1922 and 1924. So on this day in Black history, we celebrate Paul Quinn. All right, y'all, I've done everything I can do with it. It's been a good week. I want to thank Chris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. I want to thank all of y'all for tuning in. I want y'all to have a blessed and safe weekend. If you're praying, people, pray for me while I'm on the road. If your thoughts and prayers, people, give me those. Appreciate them. And hey, y'all, we'll try it again on Monday. Coach Cole will be back with another great episode of Johnny Cole's HBCU Stroll. So until then, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I truly do love you, and there is nothing you can do about it except meet us right here on Monday.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today, it's Friday, February 24th, 2023. Friday, anyone? Number 1. A brutal winter storm closed interstate highways from Arizona to Wyoming Wednesday, trapping drivers in cars and knocking out power to hundreds of thousands of people. Few places were untouched by the wild weather, including some at the opposite extremes. Long-standing record highs were broken in cities in the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, and Southeast. A wintry mix hit hard in the northern U.S., closing schools, offices, and even shutting down the Minnesota legislature. Number 2. Pew Research Center has provided an overview of Black-owned businesses in the United States. Nearly 6 in 10 Black adults say supporting Black businesses or buying Black is an extremely or very effective strategy for moving Black people toward equality. While Black-owned businesses in the U.S. have grown significantly in recent years, they still make up a small share of firms and revenue in the country. That according to a Pew Research Center analysis of Census Bureau data. Number 3, Moderna reported that its cost of sales jumped nearly $1 billion to $1.9 billion in the final quarter of 2022. That included a $400 million catch-up payment to the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases for a new agreement on future royalty sales of the COVID-19 vaccine. More than 270 million doses of the original vaccine and boosters have been administered in the United States since regulators granted emergency authorization in the late year. More than 270 million doses of the original vaccine and boosters have been administered in the United States since regulators granted emergency authorization in late 2020. Number 4, a bill introduced in the Texas Senate is triggering alarm among LGBTQ plus advocates in that state, who say it would make nearly all gender-affirming health care illegal. The bill would ban public funding for gender modifications and treatments, bar some health plans from providing coverage for a gender modification procedure, and increase legal liability through malpractice suits. Texas has introduced over 70 anti-LGBTQ plus bills in the 2023 legislative session so far, that according to Equality Texas. Number 5, African Americans are catching the entrepreneurial bug as the number of first-time Black business owners is on the rise. Just over 1.2 million African Americans were self-employed in February 2022. That compared to slightly under 1.1 million in February of 2020, while the pandemic sparked a frenzy in the start of new businesses nationwide. According to a new report from NASDAQ, several cities are ripe for Black business success, income, and job security. And here are some key takeaways from that report. You can find that in the What You Need to Know newsletter. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Life is a series of choices. Choose, what is it? To be flexible. All right. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SybilWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.